Hi there, my name is Dakota Karper. Today we're going to be learning the tune Red Prairie Dawn. This is in the key of A, and I have my fiddle cross-tuned to A, E, A, E. Let's jump right in. Beginning with our A part, the first phrase will be this. That started with pickup notes. These are our pickup notes. And then our downbeat comes on that note. So first try and pick it up by ear. Once more. Those notes are C sharp, D for pickup, E, C sharp, B, and here I'm including that B in a slur of grace notes. So I'm going to do B, C sharp, B, and then A. And then back to C sharp, and over to F sharp. But remember that F sharp in cross tuning is actually your first finger on the third string. So once again. And now we're into our second phrase of the A part. Whoops. I'll do that a couple more times to pick up by ear. One more. Those notes are A, F sharp, E, F sharp, A, B, C sharp, and here I'm going to be using a circle bow. I'm going to come back to talk about that more in a moment, but our notes are F sharp, C sharp, E, C sharp, B, A. Once again, that phrase put together. I did add in an extra note there. So back to the straight melody. There we go. And let's talk about the circle bow. So a specific type of bowing called circle bowing, it happens when you are playing a down bow on one string and an up bow on the string next to it, and you do that in succession. So for example, if I'm doing down bows on my A string and up bows on my E string, if you watch my right hand, it's actually creating this circular motion as I'm rotating between those strings. And this can work with down bow on the low string, up bow on the higher string, or if you start with an up bow on the low string, down bow on the high string, it actually changes the rotation. So you're going in the opposite direction. This would be it with an up bow. This is it with a down bow. So it's simply doing back and forth bowings, but because we're changing the strings as we're doing this, it's creating a circle bow. So there where we're going C sharp, F sharp, C sharp, E, we're doing that circle bow. You can see that circular motion that's happening, whether you're doing that on an up bow or down bow. Down bow or up bow. So just a little note, you're already doing the bowing, but just to be aware of what it's called. That's your circle bowing. Now we're going into phrase 3 of our A part. Phrase 3 is exactly the same as phrase 1, except that we don't include the pickup notes. So remember those pickup notes were, which was C sharp, D, and then our downbeat happened on the E note. Here we're going to just start right away on that E note. Again by ear. That's E, C sharp, grace notes, B, C sharp, B, A, then back to C sharp, and down to F sharp. And that's our third phrase. The fourth phrase of our A part is this. So that again, first picked out by ear. One more. Those notes are A, F sharp, D, sorry, not D. I forgot that I was tuned up. E, F sharp, A, B, C, A, and then here's another grace note spot. So I'm doing B, C sharp, B, A, and ending there. And what I often like to do with that final A note, when I'm cross-tuned, the A note is my third finger on the third string. It's also my open second string. So to give it a fuller, more robust sound, I will play those in unison, like that. So I'm sliding into the A on the third string until it matches pitch with my open second string. And then that just allows for a little more fullness to the tune. All right, one more time, that fourth phrase. I'm also splitting the final note into two bows by adding in that lower fingering for the A. So you could just hold on to that note for a long time as a single note without repeating the bow. Like so. All right, we have our full A part. Let's put it together. I'm going to play it the first time just exactly as we learned it. The second time, I'm going to allow my bow to drag on some of the open strings around it. Because I'm in cross tuning, I have E's on either side of my A string, and I have A's on either side of my E string. So when I'm playing, that means any open string next to the one I'm playing on will create harmony. So you can choose whether you like the tone of a higher E or a lower E, or a higher A or lower A. But there's no mistakes here. It's a nice way to practice droning and pulling your bow on two strings. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's move into our B part. The first phrase of our B part is this. Do that again. Try and pick it up by ear. One more. notes are C sharp, F sharp, A, which I'm choosing to play with my third finger on the third string so that I can slide into it, and then C sharp. That again. That's our first phrase. Phrase 2 of the B part. Some of that should be sounding familiar. We're going to do it again, twice more by ear. Whoops. Once more. All right, those notes are B, A, but I'm moving up a higher octave, E, F sharp, A, B, C sharp, F sharp, C sharp, E, C sharp, and that's our circle bowing again, B, A. And that's our second phrase. We're going to put it together again. And I want you to be really conscious of your bowing during this phrase. When we have that jump from the low A to the high A, make sure that your bow has stopped moving as you're turning the bow across the strings here. You want to avoid where your bow is still in motion as it's coming towards the higher A string. That's a cool sound, but only if you're intending to make that sound. If you're trying to have a really clear definition of what those notes are, you're going to play the low A, stop your bow, rotate across the strings, but without pulling on your bow, and then you can play your higher A. Sometimes a good practice is just doing this motion. See if you can move across the strings, choosing a different string each time, but without making sound from your instrument. Something like that. All right. Back on track. We have phrase 1 and phrase 2 of our B part. Phrase 3 is the same as phrase 1 of the B part. Do it one more time by ear. As a reminder, those notes were C sharp, F sharp, A, C sharp. Once again. And then our fourth and final phrase of the B part is this. Again by ear. One more. All right, those notes are B, A an octave up, E, F sharp, A, B, and then C sharp, A, B, C sharp, B, A. That's our grace notes into the final note. And again, you can hold that long, or you can go like that. When you add that second bow stroke, what we're really doing is filling the space that pickup notes sometimes will fall into. So for example, if you're using that ending with the second bow stroke on the A, you may need to leave out or at least speed up the pickup notes to go back into the A part. For example, I'm having to immediately go to that E note rather than that walk up. If I wanted to do the walk up, I would probably leave off that second open A. Like so. All right, we're gonna put this all together now. The full B part will sound like this, and I'll do it twice, the second time adding in those drones. And the final thing to put together is the entire tune. This is played with 2 A parts and 2 B parts, just as we did when practicing the individual sections. The first time I will play it as the single melody, and the second time I'll add in our drones. Here we go. Hi there. Thanks so much for joining me today. My name is Dakota Karper. If you'd like to learn how to play old-time fiddle, then join me on Patreon. Patreon is a platform where I've shared over 100 video classes teaching phrase by phrase how to play tunes, as well as techniques and embellishments. Follow me on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Check out my website, dakotakarper.com, and see what I'm doing in West Virginia at my folk music school, The Cat and the Fiddle. There, you can sign up for in-person classes as well as virtual classes. Hope to see you around.